Hi, you guys. Welcome to Audrey's reading area. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. Shout out to my beautiful grandbabies, Korea, Sanaa, David the Third, and Kaden. Love you guys, and I miss you mwah, mwah, so much. Don't forget to click like and share. Don't forget to go to Audrey's reading area on YouTube and absolutely smash that subscribe button for me. All right, all right, all right. Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Audrey reads in her area live at 8 o'clock p.m.
Live at 8. All right, all right, all right. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to jump right into this book, The Adventures of Stick and Rudder. Tall Tales. Tall Tales. The Adventures of Stick and Rudder. So this book was written by Born Aviation, illustrated by Bob East. See? The Adventures of Stick and Rudder, illustrated by Bob East. I'm just going to jump right in. Right? All right, all right, all right, you guys. On their day off from work, Stick and Rudder have decided to visit the National Air Museum. This is one of their favorite places because they are able to see some of the famous airplanes that have made aviation history. These airplanes really bring back a lot of memories for me, said Stick. Me too, said Rudder. I've had a lot of fun flying in some of these old birds. For instance, take a look at this Silver Beauty, said Rudder. This plane is the Spirit of St. Louis, and I made history in it. I was the first person to fly solo, non-stop across the Atlantic Ocean. I'll tell you, I had a hard time staying awake for the whole flight, Rudder explained. You've got to be kidding, exclaimed Stick. That was Charles Lindbergh who flew non-stop across the Atlantic. Charles Lindbergh. Well, answered Rudder, I was thinking about doing it. Charles Lindbergh just got to it before I did. I can't believe you thought I'd fall for a tall tale like that, laughed Stick. And speaking of famous airplanes, this is one that I really enjoyed flying, said Stick. Rudder was puzzled. When did you ever fly a P-40? I'm glad you asked, answered Stick. Let me tell you a little story. Back when I was a young cub, I volunteered for this group that flew P-40s in China. I did so well protecting the Burma Road that they decided to name the group after me. Stick said with a big smile on his face. They named the group the Flying Tigers. The Flying Tigers. I think the older you get, the taller your tail gets, giggled Rudder. Let me put my little tiger up in here because he's supposed to be here with the Flying Tigers. I think the older you get, the taller your tails get, giggled Rudder. What do you mean? Exclaimed Stick. Well, the man that led the Flying Tigers was Claire Chenault, not you. And the group was most certainly not named for you, said Rudder. Then Rudder asked Stick, have you ever seen the trophy that I won for racing in this speedy little airplane? And what trophy might that be? Asked Stick. The Thompson Trophy. I won it 3 times, and then I donated it to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, explained Rudder. Back when I was on the air race circuit, I had a pet lion named Gilmore. I even made a parachute for him to wear when he flew with me. If I remember correctly, Rudder reminisced, we lost a very big race once because Gilmore's parachute came open and it slowed us way down. Wow. Wow. A pet lion named Gilmore? Asked Stick. Yep, replied Rudder. Rudder was that Roscoe Turner who won the Thompson Trophy, and he had the pet lion named Gilmore. Not you, Stick said with a chuckle. Look, Rudder, a B-25. Boy, does that bring back memories, said Stick. I remember flying one of these off an aircraft carrier when I was in the military. I was the commander, and we were on a very special mission. You see, continued Stick, the B-25 was not made to take off from an aircraft carrier, but we had to do it for this mission. We took all unnecessary things out of the airplane to make it lighter so we could take off from the carrier. There you go, telling tall tales again, exclaimed Rudder. That was Jimmy Doolittle, who was the commander of that mission, and there were 16 B-25s in that group known as the Doolittle Raiders. Well, I could have been the commander, sighed Stick. What is this little airplane called? Quizzed Rudder. It's the Bell X-1, and I broke the sound barrier in this plane. It may be little, but it's really fast, explained Stick. They strapped me in the X-1 and hooked it to the bottom of a B-29. The B-29 flew way up high, and when it got to the right altitude, the crew released the X-1. I then fired up the rocket engine and away I went, Stick continued. I was the first person to break the speed of sound. Chuck Yeager, protested Rudder. Chuck who? Asked Stick. Chuck Yeager was the first person to break the speed of sound in the Bell X-1, replied Rudder, shaking his head. Ignoring Rudder's last comment, Stick proclaimed, now that's a funny-looking airplane. It may be funny, reported Rudder, but Spaceship One was a great airplane to fly. When did you fly Spaceship One? Asked Stick. Well, it all started with a competition. The first civilian to fly an airplane into outer space would win a really big prize, answered Rudder. I built Spaceship One with my own little hands, Rudder went on to say, and then I flew it 100 kilometers high, over 325,000 feet, into space. I did my patented rudder roll and then flew back down to the desert to land. Thus, I became the world's first civilian astronaut, and I also won the really big prize. Are you feeling a little lightheaded? Asked Stick. Well, the air up there is much thinner than down here, answered Rudder. You must be if you think you did all of that, because Burt Rutten built Spaceship One, and Mike Melvin flew it. Together they won the really big prize, stated Stick. Kind of looks like a little cricket, right? I'm just saying. It was green. As they walked up to DC-3, Stick stopped and thought a minute. This airplane reminds me of our Goonie Bird and some pretty big flights that we have made, Stick commented. Rudder, do you remember when we dropped emergency medical supplies from our Goonie Bird to those earthquake victims and helped save their lives? Or, Rudder reminded him, what about the time you flew your Stearman all night cross country to deliver a rare vaccine to that hospital? And it saved a man's life, Rudder added. Rudder, what about the time you flew over Waco from sunup to sundown for days, never giving up hope until you found the family that was lost in the mountains? Stick added. As the two friends walked out of the museum, they realized that they did not have to make up stories to get others' attention, because they had so many real life stories of their own for which to be proud. Wow. Wow. Nice story. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for clicking like. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for going to YouTube looking for Audrey's Reading Area. And thank you for smashing that subscribe button for me. Shout out to you, Mom, who's always here, even if she is a bit late sometimes. Thank you all for sharing my videos. I thank you. Thank you, thank you. See you again tomorrow, right? Live at 8. Live. Live at 8 tomorrow. See you soon here at Audrey's Reading Area.